More people are shopping online as opposed to buying from brick and mortar stores, and that's affecting the state's sales tax revenue. Marketplace providers that facilitate internet transactions with out-of-state companies do not have to collect sales tax, but Governor Cuomo would like to change that. The governor's office predicts this would bring in an extra $136 million a year. Some say that that number could be as high as $200 million, which is, real money. Joining me to talk more about this, we have Stephen Querio from the Association of Counties and also Ted Patrikis from the Retail Council. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we'll start with you, Ted. Just how much of a problem is this? I mean, when you and I have talked about, we do our annual get-together, when we talk about, Cyber Monday and, Small Business Tuesday or whatever it is around the holidays, and people, who have brick and mortar are really struggling to get folks to come because, you can shop in your underwear in your bathroom. Why not?
And through the marketplace platform, chances are better than not that you can shop sales tax free. Mm-hmm. Whether you're talking about, we'll pick on Amazon because that's the most prevalent one.
Well, they're the behemoths.
Yeah, and when New York did the 2008 click-through nexus law, or the Amazon tax, everybody said it wouldn't work. It survived all of the court challenges. So if you buy something from Amazon itself, you're paying the sales tax. But if you go through that marketplace portal to a smaller store, chances are one of those marketplace sellers is a smaller store competing directly against the smaller Main Street stores in New York.
How many people know that, do you think?
Oh, it's actually last year, just before Christmas, Amazon put a press release out. I think they said that more than 50% of their holiday sales, or somewhere around 50%, would be done on the marketplace platform. So people are looking, it says available from another seller. So you look at that other seller and you think, okay, I can get it for a couple dollars cheaper, but yes, I'll pay the shipping and handling, but I don't have to pay the sales tax. All the old arguments from the 2008 law have come back simply because this is a platform that didn't really exist in 2008. I think what the governor is proposing is something that catches us up to modern technology.
So you're in favor?
Very much so.
And you're in favor, I would assume. I mean, sales tax revenue, there's only, and as you and I have discussed many times, there's only a handful of ways that counties can generate revenue. This is one of them. Property tax is another. We'll leave that aside for the moment. But this one is very important, and it's really sort of, it can fall victim to the whims of the marketplace, which, as we know, is rapidly changing.
Right. I think, Liz, let's be clear here. What we're talking about here, for every dollar that we collect in sales tax, that's one less dollar collected on property tax. This state has made and championed a property tax focus the last 5-10 years, the taxes in New York being what they are, very high. But for county governments, and you know that we have dozens and dozens of issues, and I'm not here to talk about unfunded mandates, but I will say to your listeners and to you and to Ted that this proposal is the most important piece in the New York State budget for county governments for several reasons. Two of them we've been discussing, the impact on Main Street, and it's a matter of fairness to the vendors that are there. We see right where we sit here, JCPenney announcing hundreds of stores that are closing. Who's next? We've seen Ann Taylor close, and a local mall here in Crossgates in Albany County, and same with J. Crew. What does that mean to the brick and mortar? What does it mean to Main Street? Our community leaders are starting to get concerned about the impact in the community. The other reason is it's a matter of fairness and tax collection. We need to provide government services, programs for the public.
Yes, so just to be clear though, and I find this interesting, I don't want to get it too far afield, but those two closures that you mentioned are happening at the mall. I mean, are you seeing the mall as sort of like an extension of Main Street? Because I'm not sure necessarily that Main Street would see the mall in that way.
Well, without question, it's part of the community. These shopping centers are part of our community. They provide revenue for people, give people choice, the choice that they have on the internet. We should be encouraging people to give choice in shopping and Main Street and a mall on the internet, but we have to keep pace. We have 35 states, I believe, have streamlined their sales tax collections right now. Our state has a record of falling behind. This is a matter of just staying current with a tax that's owed. This is not a new tax, as Ted has mentioned.
So what's interesting, though, is we've spoken to, the internet folks have an association now, right? And they've actually not been represented in Albany before, and they're trying to rectify that and get a toehold. They hate this idea, obviously. Now, it's money out of their pockets, which we understand, but also, the idea that I think they're putting forward is, well, you don't want to curtail growth on the internet because that's where the growth is occurring.
Yeah, and I reject that outright, because here's what happens. The premise, I think, that, as I understand it, the premise that they've been putting out there is that this would have an impact on the individual seller, that the person who's sitting in his or her kitchen and says, oh, I've got this great thing that I want to sell.
They make protein bars, or
they have
knitted hats, or whoever they are, Etsy folks.
Continue to knit the hats and make the protein bars, and know that under this provision, you will not be required to collect the sales tax. It's the cash register. It's the person who controls the cash register that would have to
Which would
collect.
be like PayPal for a lot of people?
Actually, no, it would be the platform that set up the marketplace. So the Amazon marketplace, the Etsy marketplace, those places, they're the ones that actually would probably take about 20 minutes to reprogram their computers. They said in 2008, this is too hard, we can't do it, we can't do it. I don't think it's too hard for a .com to figure out what the sales tax is.
No fear of like a chilling effect? In other words, I mean, but you mentioned that 36 other states, did you say, are already doing this? And so they've not lost business opportunities, or shopping opportunities have not diminished as a result of this, right? So you're not actually winnowing in some way the opportunities that shoppers have in terms of choice?
Do you want to answer, Ted, and then I'll add to that?
Sure, thank you. No, certainly not. I mean, again, I'd go back to 2008 because there are so many parallels here, simply because this is a recapitulation of the same arguments that we made back then. And none of the naysaying arguments from '08 have ever come true. In fact, internet shopping has, well, it's grown a little bit in the last 10 years.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Steve?
Again, the importance of what we're talking about here. We're talking about, from our estimate, about 10% e-commerce is collected through this. It's growing 20% a year. This is going to be here with us for a long time, a great expansion, and we have to catch up with our tax code. I welcome the Internet Association that has come together in Albany. This is New York State. We want to do it the right way. Let's hear their concerns. Let's try to incorporate some of the comments that they may have. Remember the fairness issue that we're trying to achieve here in New York State. But we're not in any way against some of the things they want to talk about. But we have to get this done. We have to be in a position. Some say, oh, we should just wait for a national model. Well, let me tell you, I just spent 3 days in Washington, D.C., and there's a lot of priorities, and I don't know if I heard the President of the United States talk about this as being one of them in his address to Congress yesterday.
Well, there are a lot of things that he didn't
talk
talk about.
There are a lot of things he didn't talk about, but I think we're still a ways off, but this is part of positioning New York to be part of any Marketplace Fairness Act that may happen on a national level.
Very quickly, because we're going to run out of time, but sooner or later there's going to be some sort of tipping point. I mean, right now this is like found money, right? It's money that you're not seeing because it's not being collected at all.
It's taxes that are owed.
Understood, but sooner or later, well, they're not going to backdate them, right? It's going to be going forward.
Right.
But sooner or later, there's going to be so much growth on the internet side and so much loss on the brick and mortar side that isn't it going to equal out? In other words, that in terms of tax revenue, you're just going to break even.
Well, it's a double whammy. We lose the property taxes if businesses are going out of business in our communities. Those are real people with jobs in our communities, and we have to take the information as we know it to be true. And we have to work with the information that we have, and that's why we're supporting Governor Cuomo's very important tax policy here, and no one should really be against this. I don't understand why. It has a threshold of $100 million in sales. It will not hurt mom and pop vendors in Brooklyn, New York, or anywhere that's a startup business. We're talking about major internet warehouses that are shopping malls of the future.
Okay, so we are out of time, but I thank you, gentlemen, for coming by here and providing the other side of this conversation.